So I launched my app, and this was one of the biggest failures of my life. If you're new here, I am doing the 100K build challenge, where I try to make $100,000 using only AI tools. No team, no outsourcing, just me building in public and documenting the real messy process along the way. So if you're into AI, vibe coding, and watching someone actually go through the process without faking anything, make sure to subscribe and follow along. Reminder on the rules of the challenge. Rule number 1, I have to document everything on this channel. Number 2, I can only use AI and AI tools. And number 3, I cannot give up until I make $100,000. Okay, now that that's out of the way, you're about to watch day 6. In this episode, you're gonna watch me go through the process of launching my app, posting it everywhere, Reddit, Twitter, DMing friends, my own audience, all of it. You're gonna get to sit over my shoulder through the entire process, see people's reactions, what worked, what didn't, and everything that came after all the dust settled. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna show you the results, how many users I got, and most importantly, how much money this thing actually made on launch. We're gonna go over everything I learned through this process and what I'm gonna do next based on all the things that transpired. Honestly, guys, this was the first time in the challenge where I seriously considered if I should keep going with it and actually post this video, because nothing is going to plan. Of course, it's a lot worse when you're going through it, especially when you're starting to look like an idiot in front of hundreds of thousands of people watching. But you guys know the rules. I cannot give up, and I want to show the reality of what it actually takes to come up with ideas, have a lot of them fail, and finally find something that works and document everything here on this channel for you. I promise you, we're going to figure it out. It's not gonna happen overnight, and I hope you keep watching to see what happens. All right, day 6 in the books. You're gonna watch me launch this thing right now. Cheers. Today is launch day. I feel like I've been putting this off for a while. I built the thing, then rebuilt the thing. It's quote unquote done, and I have to get it out into the world. But I wanted to capture this moment right now because I have this like uneasy feeling in my gut that my product isn't good enough. I'm super embarrassed by it. Doesn't have the features that I want it to have. I mean, look at this right here. Like, this landing page sucks. Results aren't all that great. I have this vision, this dream of what it could be, but it's not there yet. What I really want to document is, even more so than the vibe coding and the building, is the, fear of launching. I have a very successful business, but I still feel this way. I still feel hesitant to go out and share this even more. Like, what are people gonna say about me? What are they gonna think? They're gonna think I suck. And today is about conquering that fear. I know that, yes, I wanna go build this feature, that feature, another feature, but if I go do that and go into future land and hide myself away in future land, I'll never launch this thing. And I'll be in a worse spot than I was if I just put it out there and fail publicly. So that's what's gonna happen today. We're gonna just go put stuff online and see what happens. And the whole world is watching, or at least it feels that way to me. And that's not the case, which we'll probably find out, I think. But there's a famous quote by, I think it was the LinkedIn founder: if you're not embarrassed by your product, then you've launched too late. So let's go, let's launch, let's try, and we'll document everything here. All right. Let's launch this thing. Let's get started. The first thing I'm gonna do is come up with a launch plan. I wanna see if I can do this in 1 hour, maybe 2 hours, and try to attack this from the most efficient way possible, because I know a lot of you guys watching this might have other stuff, full-time jobs, other businesses, and things like that. Just like me, I have a full-time job as well. So let's try to launch this thing in the smartest, most efficient way possible. So the number one thing that we want to do is we want to get as much attention as possible on this thing. We want to get as many people as possible to just see our thing in terms of on social media or wherever we do it. We want to drive as many people as possible to our landing page, and we want to drive as many people as possible to sign up. I have very low expectations for what's going to happen, because the way that I'm thinking about launching, the goal of all this, get data and get information. And what I mean by get data and get information is Not necessarily like, oh, this is how much people signed up or conversion rates or whatever. I want to know if this is a good idea, what type of customer this is, what type of person, the type of person that uses this. I want to get their email address so maybe I can reach out to them. I want to get enough data to know, okay, this is maybe A, this totally works and I'm totally on the right track. B, this somewhat worked, but I need to kind of go in this other direction with it. Or C, this doesn't work at all and I need to come up with a totally new idea. My only goal is to get enough information to start thinking about that next decision of what I'm going to do. And that is the one thing that I think a lot of people miss when they launch stuff. Yes, on this being successful, I think that maybe 10% chance that this is like really successful. I'm more focused on getting information, which I know I will not get if I continue to build features. Okay, I've been blabbing on long enough. Let's come up with the launch plan. So look, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to ChatGPT and I'm going to tell it a bunch of stuff about what I'm doing. And let's see what it gives me. So let's try it. I am about to launch my AI thumbnail generator with the goal of getting information and data about if this is a good idea and seeing if there are real customers who would be willing to pay for this. And guys, what I'm doing here is I'm just giving as much information as possible and then tell it what I want it to do. And this may not be enough, but let's do this. Can you come up with a short launch plan so I can do this in the next hour? Let's see what it comes up with. There's a lot of people in the comments that aren't very nice. And I know I'm going to see this one. Oh, you have audience. You are going to, this is going to be successful because of your audience. 3 things. Everyone has an audience. Mine happens to be a little bit bigger than the typical audience, but everyone has a LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, friends, and people who follow them. An audience always starts from something, starts from 0. Maybe it's 1,000, maybe it's 2,000 audience that you have. So that's the first thing. The second thing is my audience is not necessarily aligned with this product. And that's something that I also realized too, is there are some people in YouTube world that followed me, but it's less so. This is more, coding and AI, vibe coding and that sort of thing. There's not as many YouTubers that follow me. So I don't know if it's super aligned with my audience. The third thing is you should absolutely take advantage of your advantages. For me, I have an audience. You need to capitalize on that advantage. I'm going to try not to go too crazy on the audience thing because we're going to try a bunch of stuff. We're going to try, hopefully, if it gives us this idea or we can figure out that's a good idea. We're going to try Reddit. We're going to try YouTube. We're going to try a bunch of stuff. So let's see. Okay. So the first thing, I love this is breaking it down here. The first one is polish the landing page. We already have that. That's already done. Step 2 is post on Twitter. Write 1 personal raw tweet thread. I like that there. So let's do that. I think what I'll do is I'm going to have this launch plan of things that I actually want to do. I'm just getting ideas from ChatGPT. How I will launch. And okay, post on Twitter. Definitely going to do that. Step 3, post to Instagram. See, this is not something I would have thought about doing, but actually it's not a bad idea. Story. We just launched a thumbnail generator we've been using behind the scenes. If you use it, it might save you hours. Yeah, see, that's kind of smart because it's like, hey, we use this. Simple carousel problem. You own your own use CTA. I like that too. So post on Instagram stories. And look, I know you guys are watching this and saying you have a big audience, all this stuff. Why? That doesn't mean that you can't do this too. If you're launching, just go and post on your feed. It's going to be probably a smaller audience, but I still think it's worth doing. DM a few target users. Okay, I like that too. I'm going to try that as well. DM a few target users. I know like a few YouTubers that they may take a look at it and I may even give them a free account or something like that. Because my number one, like as I said earlier, my number one goal is to get information. So just letting them know that I started this thing, I'm not expecting them to use it. I'm just letting them know so that maybe in the future when I add more features or, they're ready to do a thumbnail, they know about it, right? It's like just attention and awareness is actually really important. Add a starter story post / email mention. 10 minutes. Yeah, I probably won't do that. Okay. I want to try a couple of things that are non-audience based too. The one thing that I want to do is I'll probably try a YouTube community post. I think that's probably an easy one. And I'm going to have AI write all the stuff for this too. So I'm just going to ask it. I'm going to say, I also want to try some stuff that gets in front of my target audience that is not necessarily in my own audience. Nice. It's giving me a bunch of cool subreddits to do. 60-second demo video short. I like that too. Post, share on indie hacker style forums. Cold email DM creators with a clear use case.
Reddit comment hijack. Ooh, that's cool too. These are super cool ideas in here. Okay, we're definitely gonna post on a subreddit. That said, it'll only take 20 minutes. So we'll do that. Post on subreddit. Okay. I'm just putting it in there so I don't lose it. Create a 60-second demo short. I'd like to do an Instagram short there. I would say these launch plan ideas. I'm not going to do all these, I don't think. I'm going to just put all these into place and then I'm going to pick which ones I like the most. Because I think this is kind of one thing I want to share with you guys is how can we do the things with the least effort and the highest impact. We're going to talk all about that. So this one is going to be a little cold DM 5 YouTubers. See if we get anything from them. Okay. Let's also do this Reddit comment hijack here. I like that idea too. I think that'll be a fun one. Now what I'm going to go through is as I said, I want to do the highest impact, lowest effort activities. So this is how I will launch. This is the plan. This is impact on a scale of 1 to 10 and the effort on a scale of 1 to 10. Impact on this will be a 10. Post on Instagram stories, that will be impact. I think that will be a 5. DM a few target users. I think the impact on something like that would be a 5. YouTube community post will be an 8. Post on subreddit, I think that could be an 8. Instagram short impact, I think that will be a 5. Cold DM 5 YouTubers, I think that will be a 5. And Reddit comment hijack, I think that could be a 9. Effort is 10 is low and 1 is high effort, just to make it easy to do the calculation. So post on Twitter, that's going to be a really low effort thing for me. So I'd say that's a 9. Post on Instagram stories, I'm not very good at that. So I think that's going to be a 6. DM a few target users, that will take me 5 minutes. So that would be a 9, low effort. YouTube community post, that will be, I can basically pull it from Twitter. So I think that will be an 8. Post on a subreddit, that'll be a little high effort. So I think that'll be a 5. Instagram short, the effort on that one was going to be high. I'd say it's a 3 effort. Cold DM, that would probably be a 5 for me. And Reddit comment hijack, the effort on that will be like a 2. I can use AI to do that. Sorry, it'll be an 8. So then I take the sum of all these, and you guys can do this for your own. You'll probably have lots of ideas. I'll filter them. This is my, what I call a low effort, high impact. This is my Lehigh score. And I think Lehigh, I think I invented it. I'm not going to do all these because that's too much. I want to do the things that are the lowest effort and the highest impact. Posting on Twitter is a 19, so that's the highest one. Reddit comment hijack, that's a big one. YouTube community posts will be easy. DM a few target users and post on subreddit. Let's try to do all those in the next hour. That's 5 things, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the rest, we will save those for later. I'm going to go through each one. I'm going to document myself doing each one. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to cover all of them, but I want to have a good mix of stuff on social media and stuff on something like Reddit for something like this. Okay, let's go.
All right, so in this session, I went down the rabbit hole to experiment with a little bit of content marketing for the app. The goal was simple. Find some high intent threads about YouTube thumbnails, share some value based on my experience running a channel with 500,000 subscribers, and if it felt natural, drop some feedback in a link to my app. I started by searching for stuff like how to make better YouTube thumbnails and why isn't my click-through rate improving. My plan was to reply to 10 or so threads with real advice, not spammy stuff, but Reddit doesn't make it easy, and I kind of expected this. A lot of subreddits auto-delete anything with a link, especially this subreddit, which seemed to have like where all my potential customers would be hanging out, NewTubers, r/NewTubers. So I had to rewrite, repost, remove links, go incognito to test to see if I was shadow banned. It was a real pain. One post went through because I left the link off, and then I figure I'll circle back and add the link later. One reason why I like this strategy is, look, you're not gonna get 1,000 clicks in one day, but these are Reddit posts that I found through Google searching. So you can assume that other people are searching for these posts on Google every day. You might get a nice evergreen, steady flow of traffic. Eventually I realized that through this process, I don't really feel super confident about this strategy, but it actually gave me an idea, which I think is one of the coolest parts about just trying to put your stuff out there and see what happens. I got the idea to actually do a feedback thread where I'll post in the NewTuber subreddit, drop your thumbnail, and I'll give you honest feedback from someone who's tested thousands. This way I can actually help people with their thumbnails and then maybe potentially plug my product. This gave me, I think that's a really cool idea that I could do on other social media channels. And I think that would be a really natural plug for the thumbnail generator. So I'm not sure if this will drive a ton of traffic yet, but Reddit has strong search intent. Let's fast forward a little bit and see the results from this strategy.
Okay, I told you I would give you the results and show you how many users this drove and attention, if this worked or not. So here are the 2 comments that I posted. This is the first one here that I posted and then said I was going to add the link. Well, I never ended up going and adding the link to that, but I got 2 upvotes on this, and actually someone responded to it. This is on a post about, do thumbnails or titles really matter? My hope was that someone would search for this and then they'd find my thing. So let's go and edit this and add my link there. Edit. It's called aithumbnailsmaker.com. So that will hopefully work. And when someone goes here, we'll get that slow trickle of traffic for people to check it out. And that's kind of cool. And actually someone responded, they said, can you give me a PM, private message? But I never sent them a PM because something else actually worked way better than this, which we'll get to in a second. But I'll show you the other comment here. And I was able to edit this later and add my link in here. And unfortunately, I don't know how many people clicked this link. It's not really a really good way for me to see that because I don't have any UTM source or anything on that. But I got 2 upvotes, more than 1 upvote. 2 is better than 1, so that's kind of cool. But this strategy generally didn't work. I'm glad I tried it because it gave me an idea for that we're going to talk about in a second. But overall, I would give this strategy an F. This one was a fail, and that's okay. Didn't take me too long to try it. I know that I probably would never do it again, but it was interesting to try. And let's go to the next one. All right. So the second little growth experiment that I ran is something that I think every builder should try, especially if you're launching something new. It doesn't require any sort of audience or anything like that. One of the easiest ways to get traction is just to simply send your product or whatever you're building or landing page, whatever it is, to people you already know. No pressure, no pitch, just a quick DM asking for feedback. So that's what I did. I decided to reach out to a handful of YouTube creators in my network who might actually find my AI thumbnail generator useful. I didn't want to be spammy or salesy, so I kept it personal. I told them I've been using the tool for my own videos, that it's saving me time, and that I used to pay $50 per thumbnail. I tried to frame it a little bit around saving money because that's important for creators. They want to create more videos at a lower cost. And this had been a huge unlock for me. So I also offered them full access and just asked if they wanted to try it. My expectation was that they wouldn't even respond to this probably, but at least it would let them know that I'm building something. If they're like, whoa, I actually really want thumbnails, maybe they'd get back to me. I sent messages to some of my creator friends like Florin, Jay Klaus, Mark Liu, Jack Fricks, and a bunch of other people. These are people that I respect in the creator world, that I know that they're creating videos. I fumbled a couple DMs and did stupid copy and paste, but the point wasn't to be able to pitch perfectly. It was just to start sharing. I genuinely thought that they might find this stuff useful, but also I have no expectations that they need to use this or pay for this or something like that. So here's the thing. People are busy. I don't expect them to respond, and I will not be offended if I get rejected, right? And that's something that I think people watching this may somewhat relate to. We talked about this in the beginning of the video. Is like, I'm gonna put myself out there. It's scary, but after sending those DMs, I feel nothing. If they respond to me, cool. If they don't, it's no big deal. People are busy and they may just kind of forget about this. Like me, or maybe in 2 weeks when they need to create a thumbnail, they go, oh yeah, Pat sent me that thumbnail thing. Let me try it out. So yeah, that's pretty much what the goal is for this. Again, I'm flexing my muscle of sharing, being able to shamelessly promote what I'm building and not being shy about the thing that I made. If you're watching this and you think, I don't have a big audience, I don't have people who I can send this sort of thing to, I would push back on that, right? All you need is one person, a friend. They don't have to be exactly right in your audience, but just sharing it. Old coworkers, friends, people that you chat with online, even people that maybe you follow online. Who knows? They may respond. Put yourself out there and slide in some DMs. The goal is just to start, let people know you made something. You never know what will happen from there. All right, let's see what came from this. Okay, I am coming from the future again. A few days later, let's report back on the DMs strategy. The premise behind this was, I think for anyone watching here is, look, you have friends, colleagues, people on LinkedIn, people you went to college with, ex-girlfriends. You should be shamelessly DMing them when you create something new. These are people that generally trust you and may check your thing out and may be your first customers. So not everyone has a large audience, but everyone has a audience, even if it's just your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend. Doesn't matter. That's what we're talking about today. I'm going to show the people that I DM'd. And the first one I'll show you is Jay Klaus. Jay is awesome. And as you remember, I did a copy and paste fail. I sent him what I was building. He does a bunch of stuff in YouTube and he didn't respond to me. Look, and maybe he forgot or something like that. People are busy. Who cares? But that is a little piece of data that, hey, I sent him something I was working on and he's in this space, but he didn't have anything to say about it. So that's a little piece of data. And that's what we're going to be kind of talking about today, is analyzing this launch in terms of the data that we got. Because when you launch your thing, I think you should be doing the same. It's like, what did people say? What did people not say? How many people responded? How many people converted? This is all pieces of data. Sometimes they're anecdotal like this, where you can't fully track them, but they're all pieces of data that should inform your next steps. And they're going to inform my next steps. We're going to go over it. Let's go over a couple more DMs here. Camphy. This guy, I thought that he was going to think it's cool and want to try it out. And his response is, wish I could use it, but I do really boring thumbnails. So he didn't even want to try it out. And I offered him to use it for free. And I guess for him, he doesn't see the power of thumbnails that I do. I feel like thumbnails change the game for YouTube channels and videos. I truly believe that. But he maybe doesn't feel that way. And that's actually another interesting piece of data. Let's go to the next one. The next one is the legend, Mark Liu. I sent it to him and he said, yo, sick, got the same problem. Yeah, send it over. And then I sent it to him. And I don't know if he tested it out yet. He didn't get back to me that he did, but sounds like he has the same problem. So that's promising. He's got the same problem. He wants to make better thumbnails. He gets it. He understands the power of YouTube. I know he's been working on his YouTube channel a lot and putting out some dope videos, and he's more enthusiastic. So I got some no's and I got some yeses. So this is somewhat promising, but hopefully what you can take away from this is that no shame in the game, DM, be shameless, and nothing bad is going to happen if people don't respond. All right, let's go to the next strategy. All right, this was the big one. The post that I was most nervous about. I wanted to finally share my project with my audience. Now, my followers, they're not all YouTubers. Most of them are into startups and business ideas and developers and things like that. But some definitely get it, maybe. And I knew I just needed to just put it out there. I'm not expecting like big conversion or anything from this. So I fired up Twitter. Instead of saying, hey, I built a thing, I wanted to show it. And that's the key. Don't just tell people that you built something. Show the product in action. So I spent up a bunch of time putting this GIF together of me actually sketching a thumbnail idea. And then I showed the output that would come from that sketch all in one post. And because I've learned so much about how the opening line matters in any sort of post, if you're posting in any sort of social media, I wanted to go with something real. So I went with, I'm shipping something new today. It's a YouTube thumbnail studio I built for the channel, 500,000 subs. Honestly, I'm nervous to share it, but it works. Once I post it, I just sat back. I felt that little rush, that mix of vulnerability and relief. Like, oh, it's out there. Now it's out of my hands. Let's see what happens. Oh my gosh, guys. I had to record this. I just posted my tweet and all of a sudden I see this retweet come through. Levels.io, the king, he retweeted it. He saw it. Oh my gosh. I know he follows me, but I did not ask him to do this. Holy shit. I think I don't know how many followers he has. 667,000 followers. Oh my gosh. Holy shit. This is the craziest. Oh my God. I don't think the product is ready for this. The product is not ready for that sort of thing. I am screwed. I am totally freaking screwed right now. Oh my God. This is what happens when you put your shit out there into the world. I don't know what's going to happen next, but damn, let's go. Yeah. All right, we are coming back a few days later, going forward in time a second to talk about the results. Now that all the dust settled, let's talk about the results of the tweet, which was the one that I was most nervous about, putting that out to my audience and, potentially failing in front of thousands of people. This actually did super well. I mean, I'm pretty pumped that I did that little GIF thing because that clearly kind of worked. Maybe that created a little bit more engagement. I spent a lot of time on this copy here, but let's go through some of the comments here. This did pretty well. And, it's not like the biggest tweet in the world. It didn't go crazy viral, but it got 46,000 views. Obviously, I have an audience, but we're going to talk about this in a second. My audience isn't necessarily aligned to YouTube thumbnails, right? You guys kind of know what my audience is about. It's not necessarily YouTube. So that was a little bit of my expectation, is that, maybe it wasn't going to blow up, but I got that Peter Levels retweet. That was epic. That made the whole thing worth it. So I think that juiced it up a bit. But, it just shows you that doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to make it successful. I want to look at the raw numbers here. So yeah, 46,000 views, 37 comments, 291 likes, 181 bookmarks, and 8 retweets. Let's go look through some of the data, which I like to look at, the actual comments and what people are saying. Let's go check that out. Got a lot of cool things in here. Lots of ideas, people giving their armchair entrepreneurship ideas. They got ideas for features and, different ways they might approach the product. I got this girl right here, Inkita, saying, I'll actually pay for this. So that's really cool too. So I was feeling pretty good about this. And I got lots of cool stuff. I got people tagging other people, which always a sign. It's like, hey, go check out this product that's being built. Maybe we were talking about this the other day. Go check out this if you need more YouTube thumbnails. That's kind of maybe a little online word of mouth angle there too. Got a lot of cool people commenting on that. I appreciate everybody who commented on this and cheered me on. I got more tags going on here. And overall, seems generally positive. I was really, really stoked on this. It felt really good to just put this out into the world and see what happens. Look, didn't go viral, but it felt good. I felt really accomplished after putting this out there. And obviously it led to a bunch of people going to my site. We're going to talk about all the conversion stuff later in the video and show you all that stuff. But from the perspective of the tweets, what I did here is the core thing was I didn't make it about the product right away. I made it about me shipping the product. I think that's powerful. Humans exist behind products. I'm a real person who built a real thing. You can see my face in there. You can see me using it. And I think that sort of stuff helps. You can call it personal brand, building in public, all sorts of things. Looking at the way I framed this, I think it helped a lot with it. So that's the Twitter strategy. I think anybody should do this and then really just do it 10 times over. Let's go to the next one, which is actually my favorite one. All right, so this was my second big Reddit push. Earlier, I was just commenting on threads to share thumbnail advice, but this time I actually wanted to start the conversation myself. Try posting in some subreddits to offer feedback and naturally mention the tool that I've built and that I'm launching. Now, Reddit is notoriously anti-spam. If you just drop your link, it's going to get nuked fast, so I had to play it smart. No hard pitching, just trying to add value. The plan was to ask creators to share their channels, and I'd reply with honest feedback on their thumbnails and titles. My first few attempts, brutal. Banned, flagged, removed by mods. One subreddit wouldn't even let you ask about other people's channels, probably just because this stuff happens all the time. Another blocked self-promo completely, so I feel like I was just walking through a minefield here. But eventually I kept digging, I kept asking ChatGPT and digging further, and I found a few that worked. And that's one thing that I want to say is don't give up on the first try. Eventually you'll start digging through the mud and find something. I got to a post on r/small YouTubers and another one on r/content creators. And in just a few minutes, I started seeing some views of the posts roll in. I'm just sharing what I actually did in that moment. People were clicking. Here's what I love about just like trying random things is like every time something didn't work, it sparked a new idea. We'll see the results in a second on this one, but for now, I'm glad a few posts went through. Let's see what happens. Okay, we are back a few days later to look at our Reddit post strategy. And oh my gosh, it keeps me so bullish on Reddit as a way to find customers and find people that will try your app. It's a do things that don't scale approach. It requires work. It's not going to be easy, but this is how I would go get my first 10 customers if I was starting right now. 377 people put their YouTube channels into there to get feedback on it. 107 upvotes. I'm guessing it was at the top of the subreddit. I didn't really even think all that much about it when I posted it. I just got the idea. This reminds me of my early Reddit days. Reddit was the way that Starter Story popped off many years ago. This is just so cool. It doesn't mean it's easy. I had to go through and record a bunch of Loom videos and give people feedback about their app. But what's cool about that is that if you look at some of the videos here, which I'll pull up, this example right here, I used my tool in front of them and I improved some of their thumbnails and I gave them thumbnail ideas. I'm just showing this one video right here, got 361 views. If the product is good,
And if it solves a really good problem, this is an amazing way to get your first 10 customers to your SaaS or anything you're building. So if anyone's watching this, I would do this, and you can replicate this. You can just see this. I'm just scrolling through here. Wow, what an amazing way to talk to customers and understand their pain points. You can reach out to them, DM them, talk to them about their YouTube channels or whatever you're building, because I think that this is something that you could replicate across kind of a lot of different niches and subreddits or whatever. So if you're building, I don't know, accounting software, going onto the accounting software subreddit and posting something like this to bring the community together and see if you can somehow help people with your existing skills and knowledge. I mean, I think what helped a lot here was I have 500,000 subscribers on the main channel, right? People think that's cool. I have something to say about thumbnails, and I hope that my thumbnail product will be good enough one day that lots of people will use it. I think this same strategy could be done on X, on YouTube, and a bunch of other places, on forums, wherever it is. It's not going to work when you're 2 years down the line and you're making tens of thousands of dollars a month. That doesn't make sense. But to get those first few customers, I think that's epic. And the coolest part about this is that I got this idea messing around. I was trying this Reddit comment strategy. It wasn't really working. I was getting banned. Then I can't remember exactly how I found this idea, but I got it while I was just having momentum and pushing myself forward and trying different things. I think it makes sense to double down on this strategy and continue to try other things in this sort of domain. All right, let's go back and recap the launch. Now that the launch is over, I just want to do a recap. Before we look at the numbers, how are we doing? How are we feeling about it now that it's all done? And I think that, if you look at where I was when we started this, kind of scared to put the thing out into the world, what's going to happen, all of that washed away once I just hit publish and put the thing out there. Then I felt like a weight was just lifted off my shoulders, and now it was no longer in my hands. I had done everything that I could have done up to that point, obviously to a degree. It was cool to see a lot of people just cheering me on, and it was also cool to get rejected in a bunch of different ways, people not responding to my thing, getting posts banned from Reddit. This takes me back to the early days when I started Starter Story, and was basically like shouting into the void, and nobody would listen to me. But then, kind of that one thing sort of worked, and I feel like the Twitter post was cool, but the thing that I thought that really got me going was the Reddit post. I was like, wow, people really need help with YouTube. And this got so many comments. Imagine all these people that you could talk to, build products for, help. And that was really, really cool to see. And that was probably my favorite part of the process. I mean, what I also thought was cool is that it didn't take very long. I only spent about an hour doing all those launch activities. Hundreds of thousands of people technically had their eyeballs on my thing in some way. That sounded wrong, but that's okay. And then the reality is that everyone forgot about it. A couple of days later, every single person forgot about it. We're going to talk about the results in a second. And I just want to highlight that that's okay. In order to continue to grow and build and make money with this thing, I'm going to have to do this over and over and over and find more ways to get attention on it and continue to build more and vibe code more and build more things and try more things. So I'm feeling really good now that the launch is over. Feels like the weight was lifted. Let's talk about the results. Let's now go through the results. We talked about the vibes. We talked about some of the promising stuff, some of the not so promising stuff. Now let's go through the numbers here. So first thing, I'm going to track 5 things here: eyeballs, traffic, signups, paying customers, and revenue. The first one, let's go through the eyeballs. The Twitter post strategy that we did generated 46,600 impressions or views, whatever you want to call them. Reddit generated 55,000 views, which I actually think is interesting. More views on a simple Reddit post than having a massive Twitter audience. That shows you the power of Reddit. And I just think that's awesome. And then the Reddit comment strategy, I can't see the stats on this, but I imagine maybe no more than 200. So in total, we got over 100,000 eyeballs on our product, sort of, or just for people that might be interested in our product. And that led to 2,000 people visiting the website, which is pretty cool. you take the conversion on that one, that's about 2% of people click through to our page. I think maybe we would have higher conversion if the content maybe had more intent on the Reddit post or something like that, but still cool to see nonetheless. And then actual signups from the traffic was 211. So 211 people clicked through, signed up, and created an account. That is a 10% conversion rate to users. I feel like that's pretty good. 10% is a good start. I'd like to see it a little bit higher on a new exciting product like this, but also, again, my audience on X, Twitter, is probably not most aligned to YouTube, which we're going to talk about. And for the big number, what you guys probably care most about, how many people decided to whip out their credit card and pay for this thing? Dun, 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 dun. One. Only one person decided to pay for this. And on one hand, that sucks. On the other hand, the conversion isn't the worst. I'd like to see more users signing up. I'd like to see it at more like 3% of signups become paying customers. We're going to talk all about that in a second, about why I think that was low and how it could improve and how that's going to impact our next movement. But these are the numbers. I promised you I was going to share with you the exact numbers, the reality of actually shipping something. And then in terms of revenue, how much revenue that generated, that is $9 a month. And that customer signed up and they've been using the product and they haven't canceled yet. So let's level set here. Now that I've seen the results, let's talk about, it's cool to launch and get all the likes and that sort of thing. But now that I've looked at the results, let's kind of really try to analyze this. And I want to walk you through how I'm feeling right now and potentially some of the learnings here. So yeah, honestly, it sucks, right? I thought it would do better than just one sale, but I think it also shows someone watching this, maybe you want to see me fail, or at least confirm that having an audience doesn't necessarily mean you'll have a successful product. We're going to talk about that in a second. But that was part of this challenge, is that I did want to build something that didn't fully take advantage of my audience, starter story, people that follow me on X, and even you guys watching here, right? You guys probably don't care that much about YouTube thumbnails. That's part of the reason why I wanted to do that. But it's also a huge disadvantage. Let's talk about why I think that this didn't convert or do as well as I thought it would do. Three things. Number one is that this is not a painkiller product. It's more of a vitamin solution, right? A lot of people said to me, or said in the comments, or responded to me, they said they don't need it right now. They said maybe something like, cool, I'll check it out later, and probably never check it out. Maybe down the line when they're creating a YouTube thumbnail, they'll remember me and potentially use it, but will they pay for it in that moment? Probably not. I'm going to talk about how we could counteract that potentially and build on that in a second, but I want to go to my second learning now, which is another problem with a product like this is that the customer generally needs to be educated about the solution, which is having a good thumbnail. My assumption was that having a good thumbnail is the most important thing in the world, and it's more important than the video itself. Based on what I saw in a lot of comments and a lot of channels and a lot of people who I thought might need something like this, it doesn't actually seem to be the case, right? Thumbnails are generally an afterthought, and although that's maybe could be seen as an opportunity, the problem with that is that, so if you want to get a customer, you need to A, educate them on the solution, and then B, also sell them the product, right? That's a 2-for-1, which gets a lot harder. What if they were already educated on the problem, or it was already something they were doing in their day-to-day workflow or whatever, and then your solution just solves what they need? That would probably be an easier sell, right? Because you don't need to explain and convince someone to actually sign up for the product. Number 3, I need more shots on goal, right? What was cool about this process was going through and finding more ideas, because I got a lot of ideas on how I can market something like this and get more eyeballs on the thing. Or I need to do just more than one 1-hour session, which is basically what I did in the marketing to see how far I could get in 1 hour. We got 100,000 people to see it, which was cool, but the conversion wasn't what I wanted to see. So We're going to talk about what I'm going to do next in a second. What I just want to end this with is that, the number 3 rule of this challenge is I will not give up until this thing makes 100K. And I didn't expect my first idea to be successful. I knew that by launching this, I would get information about what I needed to do next. And if I can do that a few times over and continue to try things and see what happens. All right. And now for the most important thing, what are we going to do next? What's the plan? And I feel like we're at a crossroads, and I'm going to kind of walk through that crossroads right now of what I'm going to do next based on all the data and information that I have, what I'm feeling in my gut. I think I have 3 options, and I'm going to go over them right now. So the first option is I double down on this YouTube idea. I keep going deeper into the YouTube space. I reach out to all those people on Reddit. I start talking to them. I start understanding more about their pain points, potentially building out, kind of have this idea to build out like a suite of YouTube tools. So the thumbnail maker is cool, but imagine there was 10 tools that all helped improve your channel, all kind of utilized AI. I have a lot of ideas here. Pros of this is that I've already started. I've already built up some customers. I have some users already. I'm already building here. There's a big sunk cost. And I also know that the AI models will get better. Look, the thumbnails are good, not great, but eventually they'll be great. So if I just hang out for long enough, when they're great, I'll be the one to go to, right? It will also help me with YouTube as well. The cons, which I actually think are kind of important here, to be 100% honest, I'm not really that passionate about this space. Building this, I kind of realized that going deeper here doesn't really excite me. When I was building out this product and building out the features, I felt more like I was building it for the channel and for the idea than I was for myself. I didn't spend as much time as I wanted to build on the features. I wasn't waking up in the middle of the night and trying to fix bugs and code up extra features. And I felt a little bit like I was just going through the motions somewhat with the product. That I think is really important to look at, because I got to be passionate about the idea, or am I really going to build out like a great product if I'm not that passionate about it? The second option is to pivot and build something more related to my audience and content at Starter Story. What I realized is that a lot of you guys who watch my stuff, it's a space I know well, business ideas, vibe coding, entrepreneurship. This is a space that I've been building in for years. I'm very, very passionate about it and I have a ton of ideas. The cons would be that I have to start over. And probably the biggest con for you guys watching is that you know that I already have an audience in this space. So I kind of have a head start, an unfair advantage, which I know a lot of you guys watching want to see how to do this from scratch. And that's part of the premise of this series, is me doing it from scratch. I think that would probably be the easiest, fastest way to do things. And I still think it would be valuable, but that is that option. And the third option is going harder on the kind of like the shipping fast approach. Instead of just building the thumbnail generator in, a suite of AI tools or something like that, I go and build like 20 things in 20 days, lots of little cool projects, websites, SEO stuff, ideas in 20 challenge, and just have some fun with it. The pros of that would be, I think it would be really fun. I could create a bunch more content around it, which I really enjoy. Vibe coding ideas and shipping them out and doing it really fast. I can create a bunch of videos around that. And that just sounds really fun to me. And the cons on this is I think it might take longer. The challenge might get extended to make that 100K, but I imagine if I ship enough things, one of them is gonna really kind of crush it. And then maybe I dig deeper into that. So these are my 3 options. I'd love if you left a comment on what you think I should do, because I haven't made a decision on what I'm going to do yet. I want you guys to join in and be a part of this process. This isn't going to happen overnight, but the one thing that you can be sure of is this series does not end because of the results of this first project. Every single successful entrepreneur I've talked to, their first idea was never the one that took off. And I saw this as my first idea. I didn't know a whole lot about the space, and I never built a product in this space either. And I was fresh to vibe coding, and I'm just happy I shipped and that I still haven't given up to this point. So I will end this with a quote from Thomas Edison, which is, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the premise of this. I'm going to show you guys the real messy process of building lots of things, shipping on the internet, what works, what doesn't. And I'm going on vacation for a week. I'm going to Hawaii. I'll come back in the next episode fresh with a plan. I want to see what you think I should do in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Good luck building, everyone. Peace.